Welcome to the Sea of Mystery, a place of your wildest dreams come true. You're watching the Sea of Mystery, starting now. Hello and welcome to Sea of Mystery, narrated by me, Daniel LaRue. Today we're going to be talking about the Kelpie or hippocamp. Now, these are two different creatures, but they have similar features described as a horse. The Kelpie and hippocamp usually tempt people toward the water and then drown them in a watery death. Now, I have three explanations for this. The way Sea of Mystery works is, I will tell you some explanations, and then I will give you the most logical one at the end. So, the last explanation will be the truth behind the creature, in my opinion. But there are still many unsolved mysteries of the sea, so that does not always mean my opinion is correct. Opinion is not fact. So just bear with me, and we'll see what I think about these creatures. The Kelpie is often described as a horse with long hair, and the hair is usually green because of the algae growing on it. Now, the first explanation is the seahorse. The seahorse can change its color, so this would explain the green hair. But seahorses don't really have any hair. They do have a fin on their back, that's their only fin, but the seahorse is quite small as well, so this wouldn't explain the myth of the Kelpie or hippocamp. Now, the next creature is a bit more big, and it is actually a creature known as the leafy sea dragon. The leafy sea dragon is a green, seahorse-like creature related to the seahorse. But one interesting thing is, it has these leaf-like structures growing off of it that are green. This would explain the greenness of the green hair-like structures on the Kelpie or hippocamp. Now, there is one last explanation, because the leafy sea dragon is quite small. So, the explanation is actually something common in Ireland and Scotland where these creatures are found. Horses. Horses are actually not as illogical as they may seem. One year in the United States there was an outbreak of creatures called mysterious alien big cats. These were large cats that weren't native to the Americas, but they were seen. These creatures were actually found out to be escaped cats from zoos. So, it's not that illogical that a horse might escape from a farm, and then end up being on the beach or something, and then people mistake it for a mythological creature. Now, The Kelpie or hippocamp is very unusual, but there is explanations, I think, to this myth. There is many explanations to any myth, though. So, I might be wrong, or I might be right. Who knows? We may never solve all the mysteries of the deep blue sea. For the sea is a large and unexplored place, and we may never unlock all of the secrets of life within it. That's it for now on the Mythic Sea. Until next time, I'm Daniel LaRue, reporting out. Thank you for watching The Sea of Mystery. Welcome to The Sea of Mystery again. My name is Daniel LaRue, and I am your host for tonight. Tonight, we are going to learn about the kappa, which is a Japanese water demon, described often as a bipedal turtle that often carries a bowl of water on top of its head. The only way to defeat it was to spill this bowl of water, by making the kappa bow. This was an interesting legend to try and solve, because there aren't many places to look in Japan, but it's still an unsolved mystery. But there are a few possibilities. One is a turtle, but the interesting thing is the only type of turtle that's predatory is the snapping turtle, and they don't grow very big around there. They're not native to the area as well, or at least as long as this legend's been around. They haven't been native. But there is another explanation. My explanation, which is the Hellbender. The Hellbender is also known as the Japanese giant salamander. This is very unique because the Japanese giant salamander is quite a large salamander, and they are predatory. They look kind of like, a salamander, but extremely large. These guys have wrinkled skin and are usually grayish in color. The Japanese giant salamander is a unique species that is native to Japan and China. They also have Chinese giant salamanders as well. Now, these salamanders usually live in rivers. The kappa is known to live in rivers and ponds. So, there might also be a creature living in ponds like the Japanese giant salamander that we don't know about. As I like to say, the sea is big, and we don't know what's in it. So, thank you for watching Sea of Mystery tonight, and I hope you have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you on the next episode. See you then. Tonight we have a special mystery for Harry Potter lovers. We're going to learn about the Lobalug. The Lobalug is described as a long, thin creature known to live in the sea. It's very slimy and worm-like in appearance, usually pinkish in color. Now, the Lobalug is not an eel, as some people might think. The Lobalug is actually a different creature. The reason it's not an eel is because eels are not always slimy. And another thing is, there is no such thing as pink eels. Now, the Lobalug is an actual creature, I believe. But there is one other not real explanation that I'd like to talk about first. The rock gunnel. The rock gunnel isn't the Lobalug, but the rock gunnel is an eel-like fish. This eel-like fish is known to live in tide pools. They're way too small to be a Lobalug, though. The next explanation, which is, I think, the real explanation for the Lobalug, is actually the hagfish, or slime eel. The slime eel is one of the slimiest fish in the sea. They actually can tie themselves in knots to get rid of excess slime as they slide the knot down their body. Now, the slime eel is a very gross creature, but they actually are used and known today for many reasons. One of them is actually used for eelskin wallets, which is very unique because many people think that's actually eels used for eelskin wallet. But the hagfish is actually a type of jawless fish, which is in a different class than eels. They are actually the only invertebrates that have bones. They have a jawbone and teeth. Now, invertebrates are creatures with a backbone, so that doesn't mean they don't have bones. But most invertebrates don't have bones. Anyway, so this is the only known vertebrate with bones. So, now that we solved the Lobalug mystery, Join me afterwards for a special second segment of this episode, a bonus segment of new footage and evidence. Hello and welcome to the Sea of Mysteries new segment, new footage and evidence. Tonight we're going to show you a new footage that came out with Jurassic Park the game. Did you know that Jurassic Park actually had a marine facility? Now, this is very interesting because they have prehistoric marine creatures in this marine facility. Now, Jurassic Park isn't real and this footage isn't real, but it shows what this marine facility may have looked like. Now, this would have been unique because some of the prehistoric sea creatures that we know of that lived during the age of the dinosaurs were incredibly dangerous, like the mosasaur, which you'll see toward the end of the tape swim by the camera. Now, here's the new footage. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Sea of Mystery. This part of Sea of Mystery, we are going to talk about merpeople. But there's one in particular we're going to talk about, the Adaro, or Rai, which is an Antarctic creature that resembles a mermaid. Now, there is a few explanations as what mermaids might be. The Adaro, Rai, which is the one we're going to talk about, is one of the most unique. Their resembled lower half is a fish, but their top half is a human. Usually when we go into broad subcategories of like merpeople or bigger categories, we will narrow it down to a specific branch. But its explanation is my same explanation for all of them. So, merpeople, Adaro, Rai. There are many different myths about merpeople. They originated in ancient Egyptian caves on cave paintings. There was hieroglyphics, which you can see on my fan page of Facebook for the Sea of Mystery. Those hieroglyphics are those are the first ever recorded evidence of merpeople, or so we think. There has been continued mermaid sightings today, but the most logical explanation we'll get to in a second. Now, the first explanation I have is whales and dolphins. Most likely dolphins, though, because the whales are too big. Dolphins, they're a pretty good explanation, because they can communicate with each other just like us. There is actually a new theory out there now, though, that would actually rule out whales and dolphins. But the whale and dolphin thing is a pretty good explanation, but that's not correct. The newest theory that describes evolution is actually us. We might actually be mermaids, which is very interesting when you think about it. But it's a theory called the aquatic ape theory. This means that we spend most of our time in water evolving, which means some of us may have split off. The aquatic ape theory is supported in many ways, like our insulating layer of fat, which resembles marine mammals' blubber, which we have, the ability to hold our breath at will, and there's also our lack of hair, except on our heads, because hair creates drag in water. But there's one more piece of evidence, too. That is that some of our ancestors had nutrients in their bone marrow, and this nutrients could only be found in the sea, not on land. So it at least has some proof to it. But did we really branch off from apes that lived in the sea? I don't know, but the most logical explanation is no. It's the theory of Achmed's razor, which is a theory that states the most logical explanation is typically the simplest one. Which is why my theory is dugongs. Dugongs are manatee-like creatures from Australia. And an interesting thing is, they're a marine mammal, and they have a tail like a fish's, and their top half looks almost human, which is kind of weird when you think about it, but it is. Dugongs are one of the few creatures that actually grows breasts like a human, which is unique, which would explain why the top half would be a woman. And they also have a small face, which resembles humans. Humans have smaller heads than some creatures. They have a similar facial structure with their eyes, nose, and mouth. Their bones in their face actually look similar to us. They have a T-shaped face, which means they have bones that come down like that. And that actually would make a face that looks like us, because you can see we have a mouth there, which forms kind of a T with our nose. Now, that's very interesting to think about. But dugongs are a logical explanation. Many people actually think they're dugongs. Mermaids would be. Adaro and Rai would also be a dugong. Some of the earlier mermaid sightings by Christopher Columbus were actually in Australia, which is in the range of dugongs, which is where most of the sightings occur today, out in near the Pacific Ocean, out in near, where was that place? Oh, Florida. Florida is where most of the mermaid sightings in down southern United States and California, places like that. These are all manatee hotspots, which is very interesting. Now, manatee hotspots are becoming increasingly rare, though, because manatees are endangered species. So, could this be the explanation? Because mermaid sightings are also rising, which is unique, because if dugong populations are falling and the sightings are rising, it might mean there's something weird going on. Join us afterwards for a bonus segment, the Sea of Mystery bonus footage, and we'll see some footage of mermaids that have been seen. See you then. Hello, welcome to the Sea of Mystery bonus segment with new footage and evidence. Tonight we are going to show you a mermaid footage that was shot in the Greenland Sea. This was shot by a geological survey crew and apparently shows a mermaid tapping on the window of a submarine that was manned by two people. There was two cameras, a handheld and a subcam, which was attached to the submarine. We'll show you both of those cameras, and we'll show you about this footage. And this is very interesting, so take a look. Welcome to the Sea of Mystery again. Another episode for Harry Potter fans is today. We are going to talk about the Plimpy, or walking fish. The walking fish is described as a round fish that is able to walk on its fins. Now, this might sound interesting, but there is a real creature that can do this that we'll get to. Now, the Plimpy is described in Harry Potter as a round fish like a ball. There is an Atlantic football fish. This is actually interesting because they're shaped kind of like a football. But the Plimpy has smooth skin. The Atlantic football fish has bumps on its skin though. So this wouldn't work, and they also live in the deep sea, so they wouldn't be able to walk. The frogfish can walk, but only underwater. Along with the sculpin, or sea raven, these can walk underwater as well. There's many fish that can do this. But there is a fish that can walk on land. This fish is known as the mangrove fish. The mangrove fish is the best explanation for the Plimpy that we have. The mangrove fish is a small fish, smooth skin, and walks on land with its fins. Now, this is very interesting because the Plimpy can do all these and look similar to a mangrove fish. Mangrove fish have large eyes and they live in mangrove swamps. So these are tropical fish, as you can tell from this description, and it actually fits very well with the Harry Potter description. Now, we are going to see you in a few seconds on new footage and evidence on the Sea of Mystery in our bonus segment, and I'll talk to you then. Welcome to the Sea of Mystery new evidence and footage. Our bonus segment for tonight is very interesting. We have more mermaid evidence coming in. So, this next footage is actually from, the Aegean Sea. It was shot in 2005 by a trawler boat, and they caught something mysterious in their nets. Take a look, and it's very interesting. You'll see a hand come out. Welcome to the Sea of Mystery once more. Tonight is a third and final Harry Potter episode. We're going to talk about a creature called the Remora. The Remora is a creature that is known to suck on other sea creatures, and it's known to steal their soul. This is very interesting description because no fish that we know actually steals souls. But there is an explanation for this. This is going to be a short episode. There's only 2 explanations. One of them lives in the Amazon River. This creature is Hypostomus plecostomus, or the suckermouth catfish. The suckermouth catfish is known to latch on to rocks and suck algae off. This isn't quite a good description because it doesn't actually attach itself to other fish. The explanation, that is my answer, is kind of shocking because there is an actual fish called a remora, and that's my explanation. The remora, or shark sucker, as it's also called, latches itself on a bigger fish such as sharks and cleans the shark of parasites. This is very interesting because the remora does steal something from the shark. It often steals food from it. And it also latches itself on to fish, which is interesting because this matches the Harry Potter Remora description. Very interesting, don't you think? Well, I'll see you in our bonus segment, so I'll see you then. Welcome to new footage and evidence on Sea of Mystery. Tonight we have a third mermaid footage out of 7 that came in. The third mermaid footage that I'm going to show you is actually a creature that was shot in the Baltic, and apparently it speared a fish in front of an oil rig, and then it grabbed the fish off the spear. You'll see the spear going. This is an unmanned cam, which means it was like a surveillance camera. No man were around to see it, but they took it back up and viewed it. So it would be hard to fake because there's no humans down there often. And the interesting thing is, why would they have a security camera down there? I don't know. But watch this. Tonight on Sea of Mystery, we are going to talk about the Monster of Monterey, which is another variant of multiple creatures. It's actually a sea serpent, which is, we're going to go with the Monster of Monterey because that is a type of sea serpent. And the Monster of Monterey is found off the Californian coast. It is described basically as most sea serpents, as a plesiosaur-like creature. This is very hard to find explanations for because plesiosaurs are extinct. But there are creatures that have come back from the dead and might be found. But that's not the explanation I'm going to use. But Creatures like the coelacanth have actually been dubbed Lazarus' species because they have been found to actually be still living. Another Lazarus species is the leadbeater's possum, which went extinct but then was refound a few years later in Madagascar by some crews that were doing surveys, and it's basically thriving in some places now. But the real explanation is not a prehistoric or Lazarus species. We are actually going with the explanation of a type of shark. One of the biggest sharks in the world, actually the second biggest, is the basking shark. The basking shark looks like a giant shark and it feeds on plankton. But it's not really a plesiosaur. That's interesting, but they do hibernate in winter on the surface of the water, moving incredibly slow. They have very small dorsal fins, so they just look like blobs or hoops going through the water, which might actually look like a sea serpent. And the only fin they do have is a large dorsal fin on the front, which would look like a head to a sea serpent. Now, this is interesting because if you happen to see this quickly, you might think it's a sea serpent, but the sound of boat motors usually wakes them up and scares them down in the water. So you would get quick glimpses of this creature. That's it for now, except for our bonus segment, New Footage and Evidence, and I'll see you there. Our last piece of evidence, or one more piece of evidence about mermaids that we just got is from Mo Clips Beach in Washington. This is a unique clip that is shot by a camera phone. Two boys apparently came across a whale beaching and found this creature that the Navy told them tried to convince them it was a seal. But it doesn't really look like a seal, and you'll see why in this clip starting now. Hello, and welcome to See a Mystery. Tonight we're going to talk about an unusual creature known as the marine dragon. There is a variant of the marine dragon called the Pelago crocodile, which might actually explain what this creature is. It wouldn't be an alligator, because alligators live in freshwater, and this is a seagoing creature. There's not many creatures it could be, but there is one logical explanation. It lives in Australia, near Pelago, which is in Micronesia, which is above Australia. But the Pelago crocodile might actually be a creature from Australia, the saltwater crocodile. The saltwater crocodile is a creature that lives in saltwater, and it's basically a large crocodile, like the Pelago crocodile. The Pelago crocodile, there is a myth behind it too. It says that it was, there were two women on an island, and there was a daughter and mother. And the daughter killed the mother for her diamond necklace. And for that, she was transformed into the Pelago crocodile. And now her belly is full of diamonds that she ate up with greed. So the local name for the Pelago crocodile is Gatamagawana, which means diamond full of bellies, or mother's diamond necklace in other languages near there. So, it's very interesting because these languages must have known something about this, and came together to talk about it. So, in Scattered Island is kind of hard. So it's very interesting. Join us next on our bonus segment for some more footage. Welcome to this bonus segment on Sea of Mystery. And we've got some new mermaid footage, again. And this is in Karakoram in Afghanistan. And two boys shot this with a camera, and they thought it was a seal at first. But then they figured out what they were really looking at. And you'll be surprised what they saw. On this episode of Sea of Mystery, we talk about the lake serpent. There is a few creatures that might resemble lake serpents, and one of them is the sturgeon. The sturgeon is a possibility, like for the Loch Ness Monster and a few others, because they do live occasionally in lakes. But that's not the case, because there is Ogopogos and other lake serpents that are known, and there's no sturgeons in Lake Ogopogo. But there is a creature in all these lakes that has common features of a sea serpent, the American eel. The American eel is a large species of eel that can grow quite large, actually. They are usually found in freshwater ponds, but sometimes spend their life in the ocean as well as lakes and rivers. They can actually go on land, which is an interesting feature because they breathe air. So the eel is, American eel is very interesting. So that's the most logical explanation I have for this creature, is the American eel. Because eels are quite similar to lake serpents, as you might not think, but they are. Join us now on our bonus segment to learn about some new footage that we have. Sea of Mystery bonus segment with new footage and evidence. Tonight we have an interview that was shot by NOAA quite a while ago, in the 1960s, with a man named Hans Bauer. Hans Bauer is a fisherman in Sassnitz, Germany, and he had an encounter with a mermaid, apparently, and he got a picture of it. So we'll see the interview and his picture. Enjoy!
Mein Name ist Hans Bauer. Ich bin im Hafen von Sutteridge aufgewachsen. Ich bin schon ein Fischer mein ganzes Leben. In den 70er Jahren aus Bremerhaven haben wir Kabeljau und Stockfisch aus der Baltische geholt. Wo wir am Aufwachsen waren, haben wir öfter so Geschichten gehört, komische Geschichten, auf was Leute im Fischen gefunden haben. Bloß, ich kam nicht daran. Ich musste warten, bis ich wirklich auf Tiefwasser in dem Bernhole war. Und da haben wir gefischt und da wurde ich plötzlich selbstbewusst darauf. Da haben wir gesehen, tote Fische. Fische mit Speeren in den Seiten. Davon habe ich schon viele gesehen. Auf einen Trip habe ich meine Kamera mitgebracht. Ich wollte Fotografien machen vom Walfischen für meinen Sohn. Auf denselben Trip, wo wir die Netze daraus brachten. In einem Netz, da war was, hat sich so komisch bewegt und als wenn es so rausklettern wollte. Und ich bin ganz schnell gegangen, ich habe meine Kamera geholt und ich habe das Bild genommen. Ich glaube, hier ist was die Speere macht. Ich glaube, wir stören hier jemands Fischgebiet.
Tonight on Sea of Mystery, the Koko Maharaja, or Dark Turtle God. So this is a black turtle with a completely black body, and it's known as the Dark Turtle God. Turtles have been long associated with mythology, since the rabbit in the hare and other myths, or the tortoise in the hare. So a lot of reptiles are associated with myths, like tortoises and turtles. There is really only one explanation that I can think of, but we'll talk about one other. This other explanation is actually a species of turtle, sea turtle, called the green sea turtle, and it lives in the same range as Koko Maharaja, and its color is green though, and it's not very close looking to Koko Maharaja, because its size is small as well, and its features are different. But there is a real creature, the leatherback sea turtle. The leatherback sea turtle is a creature that is black, and its body is black and everything else is, and it's a turtle. So that's our explanation. Join us now on our new bonus segment, and I'll show you some new evidence. Hello, and welcome to bonus segment of Sea of Mystery. Tonight we have the last of the mermaid footages. This was shot in Bay of Foot Naval Facility in North Carolina. And we have some strange creature in a tank, and it has hands like a human. You'll see that next. Enjoy. Welcome back to Sea of Mystery. We have just a few more episodes. Tonight's episode is about the Knossos dolphin murals. These murals are found in Knossos Palace on the island of Crete, and they are over 4,000 years old. In the time of the Minoan civilization, Knossos was the capital city, and was a luxurious palace. They painted these murals on one of the rooms, and it's one of the few remaining murals left. And I believe these murals are a specific creature, and it's a type of dolphin, but it's a unique type of dolphin, because it's not an ordinary dolphin. The type is the narwhal. The narwhal is a unique creature, has a horn like the dolphin murals. And the narwhal was also associated with other mythology, such as unicorns, because unicorns have a single horn in their horses. There was one time where a man actually made a unicorn out of half a horse skeleton and a dolphin tusk, narwhal tusk, and he actually presented it on display as a unicorn and skeleton, and people believed him. Join us on my next bonus segment, which is actually a personal segment, which I think you'll enjoy. Welcome to new evidence and footage on Sea of Mystery. Tonight's bonus segment, as I said, is kind of a personal segment, because it's my own pictures and videos I'm going to be showing you now. These photos and videos are shot at Pierce Pond, a few days after a fisherman drowned, or not fisherman, a person drowned. His name was Parkside, that's his trail name, and he died a few days before we got there, and we shot these footage on night vision cameras, so it's kind of creepy. Enjoy! This episode of the Sea of Mystery is about a unique creature, the ghost ships. The ghost ships aren't really a creature, but they're ships, pirates and stuff that there's no crew, and they're seen at night, glowing and such. So the explanation is kind of hard, but I figured it out. The explanation is fluorescent coral. This coral is activated if waves brush against it or something, and it lights up. And this is unique because it can stick out of the water, and waves would crash on it, and it looked like a glowing ship sometimes, if seen from a distance. So this is the most likely explanation, because that's all I can think of. And there are other explanations too, but this is the only one I can think of for now. Join me on my bonus segment, and I'll show you some bonus footage, or actually sounds, which I think you'll find interesting. Welcome to the Sea of Mystery's last bonus segment, and this one is not a movie. It's a sound called the bloop. The bloop, along with 6 other sounds that you are going to hear, has been recorded, and these are some of their explanations, and some of them are still unidentified. Enjoy! Welcome to the final part of Sea of Mystery. This is the last episode you'll ever see. Possibly. I might be back someday. But this episode is called the Two-Slit Experiment. This is when the Two-Slit Experiment has to do with water, waves, particles, everything. It actually has to do with quantum physics as well. The two-split experiment is when you fire parts of matter that are big through two slits, they form 2 bands. When you do that with waves, however, it forms an interference pattern of many bands where if you send waves through, they create more waves, and where they hit is the most intensity. And this causes the interference pattern of bands. But quantum physics is unique because there is a unique particle called an electron, and if you shoot it through 2 slits, it looks sort of like a round sphere. It's matter, not waves, but if you shoot it through, it creates a wave-like pattern of interference. How can this be? Scientists have thought of many theories, including that it goes through both slits, neither slit at the same time, and it goes through one slit, but it actually goes through the other. But they cancel each other out. The answer to this is interesting. There is none yet. Which is unique because you didn't think I would say that, would you? Now, this is unique. I don't have an answer for this. We may never have all the answers to the ocean. And this is an important message I want you to leave this series with. We don't know everything. We possibly never will, and most likely never will. I don't think we ever will. Neither should you. No one knows everything. And that's what I want you to leave with. Thank you for joining me on this series called The Sea of Mystery, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you someday on Marine Vet Dan's channel and on Facebook if you have joined. Thank you very much for watching, and I was your host, Daniel LaRue, and enjoy the end credits. Thank you.
1, 2, and The western wind is blowing fair across the dark Aegean Sea,
and at the secret marble stair my Tyrian galley waits for thee.
Come down, the purple sail is spread,
The watchman sleeps
within the town. Oh, leave thy lily flowered bed.
Oh, lady mine,
Come down, come down, lady, come down, come down, lady, come down,
oh lady,
come down. She will not come, I know her well. Of lovers' vows she hath no care, and little good a man can tell of one so cruel and so fair. True love is but a woman's toy, they never know the lover's pain.
and I who loved as loves a boy must love in vain.
Must love in vain. Come down,